Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Susan Barrett, and I'm a moving image archivist and digital asset manager. I consult with nonprofit, commercial, and cultural institutions about record schedules, information lifecycle analysis, and digital repository management. Most information technology implementations follow a basic project management process, and today we're discussing the first process, planning, and a few tips from the design process in regards to multimedia and audiovisual materials. My goal is to provide you with an overview of the essential topics for consideration prior to adopting a digital asset management system. Each topic requires considerably more in-depth analysis than I can accommodate today, so references will be provided on the DAM Guru website. You're welcome to use the question panel to ask questions, and I'll try to answer as many as possible at the end of the presentation. Adopting a new software system affects the entire institution, and a new DAM system is a cultural shift from traditional collection management systems. Involving team members from all levels of an organization provides quality control. Successful DAM teams usually combine technology and collections expertise. And I really encourage you to integrate and adopt all the team members at your institution when considering the move to a DAM system. Young professionals can be more tech savvy, and seasoned professionals offer institutional and collection knowledge that ensures alignment with strategic planning. DAM systems are stronger when everyone has input and participates in brainstorming from the beginning of the project. Leadership and team member buy-in is really critical, and engaging and communicating with the entire team, as well as realigning team member positions and rewriting job descriptions to support DAM, really reflects the institution's commitment to making this cultural change. Providing multiple opportunities for resources and training offers a lot of technical support for your peer institution. DAM services are a permanent addition to collection management. So I really encourage you to take your time and talk really in depth with your team members before moving forward. For me, DAM is a stewardship plan that mitigates the risk of loss of digital assets. So a digital asset is the combination of a digital object or data and the ability to find and access that object. Digital assets include still and moving images, creative information, provenance documentation, authority, and intellectual property information. So successful DAM systems are aligned with the core museum mission, goals, values, and strategic plans. And each cultural institution is unique. So DAM systems are flexible and customizable to the unique needs of each institution or museum. DAM systems can integrate with collection management systems, and they are integrated into the processes and workflow of the entire institution. For technical goals, defining what a DAM system will accomplish for your unique institution is really an important part of the planning process. Many institutions are struggling with data fragmentation. Important documents and data are stored in multiple locations like shared drives or staff computers, or they're trapped behind department gatekeepers. If this is your challenge, a DAM system would help by collecting and centralizing digital assets and documentation. So technical goals might be to centralize and secure your data, expand online user access. So something for your consideration is, will my external users have access to the DAM? Improved efficiency, finding information or documentation for both internal team members and external users. Streamlined workflow, one system where you deposit and manage all your digital assets. And quality control, integrating DAM with a collection management system or replacing the collection management system allows you to store data in one place, and it reduces duplication of effort and resources. So access from multiple places is something else you'll want to consider. Do you want external users to come in through the public website? Do you want to integrate with a collection management system? Do you have a digital library that exists in another place? Do you need your marketing folks to have access? These are the kinds of decisions that will help you with the planning process. What do you want to get out of your technical goals? And the intellectual goals. As mission-critical institutional assets, digital collections require the same production, publication, and preservation strategies as the institution's tangible objects. For me, planning is the most important aspect of adopting a DAM system. And thinking about the desired outcomes at the beginning of the project results in a robust and sustainable endeavor. DAM systems on life support can also be resuscitated with a well-planned rescue mission. DAM systems offer improved moving image, multimedia, and digital graphic management. They provide portfolio management, like version control and checkout tracking for collaborative projects. DAM systems can also be an archival repository, and they facilitate the creation of new knowledge by breaking down silos of information within the museum and between institutions. So I understand a big question about legacy CMS systems. Do I keep it? Do I replace it? Do I retire it? Museums have significant investments in legacy collection management systems, and it's not necessary to abandon that work when developing a DAM strategy, because choosing to begin or transfer to a new software or storage location is part of DAM strategy, and it extends and expands on the historical work. So collection systems manage tangible objects. Digital asset management encompasses the breadth and depth of the digital object, including metadata and contextual information that enables logical storage and retrieval of digital data. So integrating CMS and DAM systems requires some thought about how data flows and data models should work together for your unique museum. If the current CMS is inefficient and unable to accommodate the information management of tangible assets, it may be best to retire it. DAM systems can more easily manage tangible assets. A CMS cannot manage digital assets. So it's important to develop a requirements definition of features or functionality that encompasses tangible and digital assets before you open requests for proposals. Decide the best option for your museum, and then find the technology that accomplishes those goals for your unique needs. Taming technolust. This is a term I really love. It was coined by library guru Michael Stevens, and it's appropriately applied to digital asset management. The technology for managing assets and information will continue to evolve. DAM provides the adaptable policy and flexible processes that allow the institution to be agile and responsive to change. So don't let technology drive your decision making. There are a lot of really beautiful, shiny new things out there, but it's all destined for obsolescence. The digital ones and zeros are meaningless. It's the contextual information and your personal collections expertise that make digital asset management systems successful. The scope of a DAM system can also be as large or as small as your budget allows. Planning strategies help to define, so aligning a DAM project to the institutional mission and vision, align to acquisition and disposal standards, define who your beneficiaries are. If you adopt a new DAM system, who will benefit from this new technology and the expense of investing in the new technology? Museum stakeholders, your community, visitors, or staff team members. And then define the team member roles and responsibilities. Let them know why you're adopting a DAM system, and it will be a much more positive endeavor. And also establish how you will evaluate success. Define the criteria and metrics or other evaluation standards that you have for a successful DAM implementation. And then be sure to schedule a regular review, like an annual review, for example, of the DAM strategies and goals, just like you do for your tangible collections management. An example of aligning with the mission is one that I think would be really important to look at an existing mission statement. So the Phoenix Art Museum is a vibrant destination connecting people to great art from around the world to enrich their lives and communities. So example strategic digital goals for the Phoenix Art Museum's DAM could be improving user access to digital collections, expanding digital collections, engaging with local or international communities of users in new ways, supporting user sharing and interaction with the digital collections, or even adding user-generated digital media of collections. It helps to integrate with your social media strategies and other outreach campaigns. Content is king. Digital repositories can include institutional administrative data, document physical collections, or be original born digital artworks. If the legacy CMS that you currently have is ready for retirement, a DAM system can integrate standard CMS data and documentation about tangible assets. So most of the collection management system data fields that you currently use are easily accommodated in a DAM system. But you can also include things like accreditation or legal documents, assessments or valuations of tangible assets. You can actually put into the DAM a digital copy of the document that is very easily accessible, and you don't have to go knock on someone's door and open the filing cabinet to see something that's on a piece of paper. You can put in donation records, insurance documentation, lesson plans, things that you would share with local education communities, loan or borrowing information, physical condition reports, purchase receipts. A DAM system would include digital versions of all this documentation, and it offers the value of integrating all information about both digital and tangible assets. In a DAM system, you could document the current physical location of a digital asset, and in regards to digital assets, the DAM system is actually housing and providing access to the digital object. So who is responsible for the security and reliability of a DAM system? Partnering with a vendor can provide the necessary technical expertise without a large commitment to in-house IT costs. But management in-house provides administrators with complete control over your assets and how they are managed. So consulting with an IT project manager or a digital asset management project manager can assist you with determining where you should store your assets. Do you want to put them in the cloud? Do you want to take care of them in-house? Would you like them hosted with a vendor? And who should provide that technical oversight and management? Should it be the vendor that you partner with, or do you want to hire the technical staff in-house to manage that? Determining institutional needs and future plans will help guide this decision, and the takeaway is that you should plan to hire or contract technical staff. Someone in the museum needs to have basic technical competency with digital formats, database administration, and computing hardware and software. So I'd like to talk a little bit about trusted digital repositories. They support long-term access and preservation of digital assets. So digital assets are considerably more fragile than tangible objects because they depend on technology. Every format or software version and change or failure of hardware puts digital assets at risk. So if long-term preservation is a goal for your DAM project, I have provided some resources that will be available on the website after the presentation about trusted digital repositories. These are your archives, not daily transactional systems like those used for website content or collection development. And trusted digital repositories actually have a certification process, and they manage format transformation from old formats to new formats so that your digital assets are always accessible, utilizing the newest software and computing hardware. Digital assets are born digital. Images of tangible artifacts are unique and original. For example, scanned documents or digital copies of an audio tape are original digital assets, regardless of how they are digitized. So authority of the original is a challenge in the digital world because every copy, edit, update, or version change produces a new unique asset. Digital master files remain accessible only through format storage and software transformations required to sustain that long-term access. Documenting the transformation of digital asset from old to new formats provides the authority control. And this can be accomplished automatically in the DAM system when files are transformed from one format to another, and you can manage it manually in the metadata. I selected this image for this slide because it is actually a piece of digital art. It was created from a digital image to mimic digital decay, But this is what digital decay looks like. So thinking about this planning process, how would you establish authority control over this asset? Provenance. Someday we will not be able to access or view the original digital images created today. This dilemma is causing widespread heartburn in the archives world. And with digital assets, valuation is based on the intellectual and artistic integrity of the digital asset or collection, not the original format or artifact. Access is the primary preservation method of digital assets. It supports the creation of new knowledge that authenticates the cultural, artistic, and evidentiary value of digital objects. Provenance is established in metadata that transfers and migrates with the multiple version and format changes of digital assets. Define what you want to learn from your DAM system. Once you build it, what do you want to learn about your museum or your collections? You can create new knowledge about collections by evaluating internal and external user activities, use patterns, and sharing metrics. You might want to know if the most popular digital asset is the same as the most popular tangible object or exhibit. You can explore user analysis for evaluation and programming. User online access. So when folks enter and look at assets in the DAM system from the website, what sort of traffic patterns do you see? When do your users share or stream your data to other locations, like favorites or giving it a +1 on a system or a star next to it? How often do they print it or purchase pictures or purchase coffee mugs with specific digital assets printed on them? So your e-commerce is a great thing to track. Tangible circulation or traveling exhibit data. How often are they looking at that information and downloading those digital objects? You can also include things in the reporting like environmental exposure analysis. So how long and how often is a tangible artifact outside its ideal environment? You can keep track of that in a DAM system and be sure that this feature is included in the requirements before you go to an RFP, if this is something that you desire to know. So any metrics that are used to evaluate your tangible collection can be applied to DAM assets and recorded in the DAM system, and they provide you with really robust reporting. A general inventory of existing digital assets can really help to establish your goals and identify assets that are at risk due to format or hardware obsolescence. Prioritize your assets to be stored in the DAM. Define ownership. Who is responsible for the care and the feeding of these assets? Define a schedule for ingest. Employ existing record retention schedules and acquisition and disposal policies. Define reporting needs and responsible team members. What units need reporting that they cannot currently get from their legacy CMS. And define what assets will not be included, if any. For example, in archives, it is common for some assets to be restricted until after the death of the donor. So the tangible collection should also be prioritized for digitization, audio, still, moving images. So determine if slides, photographs, films, or audio recordings or other analog media need to be digitized. Digitization is the whole presentation by itself, so I'm providing resources that will be available on the website. Determining what you want to digitize also affects your plan or your timeline for overall digital asset management, and you may want to prioritize by the fragility or rarity of tangible items, frequently requested research materials, or you can digitize systematically by collection. Metadata means information about data, and it is the most important component of finding and accessing digital assets. Metadata identifies who created the digital materials, when, where, and for what purpose. Metadata is the key to managing, searching, and accessing digital files, and it also allows for rich search functionality across multiple collections. Metadata captures the contextual information that describes why an asset was created, for what event, or who is featured. Describing the visual and sound content of a film and the significance of an artistic work helps to identify the socio-cultural or political context of a digital asset. Metadata can be generated automatically in the origin software, like the computer or camera that created the file, or it can be imported into the DAM system. So prepare a controlled vocabulary and taxonomy terms and adjust as needed during the planning stage. Curators and collection specialists are content authorities, so drawing on their expertise when defining the metadata will really help to customize the metadata for your specific digital collections. And select a DAM system that provides metadata coding, called a schema, that is based on your institution's needs. So if you have a lot of photos or video or audio recordings, define what you want to do with those assets. So if you want to share those assets with other institutions, you need to have a protocol for sharing those. If you want to move it up to one of the larger collaboratives or international systems, there are specific protocols that you need in order to do so. So investigating what those protocols are in advance will help you when you select the DAM system. And folksonomy. Folksonomy are key terms that are generated by users, often through your website. They generate a very rich vocabulary that does not necessarily have to be part of your controlled vocabulary or taxonomy, but they really offer a very rich opportunity for description and access, and they facilitate search and discovery through a web interface. Intellectual property rights. Establishing legal agreements that govern the creation and use of video, audio, and still images of loaned installations is really important. Legal standings are different in each country, so careful attention to defining those rights, especially with traveling collections, will protect both parties. Digital assets are often more difficult to govern because once you present them online, they're open for others to use. So you could consider a Creative Commons license that allows people, anyone, to reuse and share images. And you may decide that those will be low-resolution images or high-resolution, depending on the needs and the user community that you have in your museum. Rich media. I'd like to talk a little bit about the design process in IT implementation. So this is kind of the second part of the planning and the design. Digital moving images, audio, and graphic multimedia assets require more complex metadata. DAM systems need to provide flexible management and a method for describing the contextual information of a complex digital asset in the metadata. So will someone viewing our rich digital media 100 years from now be able to understand the context or why and how it was produced? This will also guide the development of your controlled vocabularies, taxonomies, and metadata terms. Consider how you'll describe an audio recording that is a component of a physical installation. How will a user viewing a video of the installation understand that the audio was projected in the physical space and recorded on the video? Or was the audio added afterwards? Those things can be defined and described in the metadata. How was a video taken of an installation? Perhaps it was taken by a visitor. Do you want to credit those visitors with the intellectual property rights and ownership of that video? What is anime? This image here is anime. So the image is computer generated. I can tell you from the metadata which computer software was used to create it and what format it's in, but the socio-cultural information about anime and the community of people who create and enjoy it is lost without robust descriptions and metadata. Are there technical requirements to access the asset? So specific software or computer add-ins that you need in order to view or download the asset? The benefits of a DAM system are engaging with your online user community. The images, online comments, and folksonomy are freely provided to the museum. So crowdsourcing is the process of working or gathering information or sometimes funding from large groups of people, usually online. So adopting a DAM system for shared and perhaps collecting user-generated contributions provides new opportunities for museum lovers and researchers to engage with the collections, and it generates recognition for the institution. So my recommendations are: start small. Images of museum artifacts, for example. Manageable, discrete tasks allow you to work at your own pace. And employ a phased implementation with time for analysis and refinement of process and workflow. allow time for team member training, and perform sandbox analysis. This is where you ask vendors to provide demonstration sites for your team to play in. Employer contract a DAM project manager to guide selection and implementation, and definitely plan to expand the staff with tech-savvy DAM administrators or contract with the vendor to provide those services. Ask other museums and cultural organizations for reviews of potential systems. How do they like their digital asset management? What did they learn from their DAM implementation that could help you? Collaborate with other museums on a shared system. It allows you to share the financial costs and share the intellectual expertise of developing a DAM system over time. And think outside the box. We are not constrained by geographic boundaries. Develop a consortium to share costs and team expertise. We can collaborate with a museum or archive that has complementary collections, and they can be anywhere in the world. So define that planning timeline. While planning is an integral process in a DAM implementation, set a firm decision date to select a system and move forward. And let's see. So my first question came in, and it says, if we don't have any technical staff, how can we find good consultants or employees? Well, I'll tell you, that is something that's important to consider, because IT staff have their very special expertise. Usually, digital asset management vendors will have someone who's available to help you if you know you don't want to hire in-house staff. If you do think that you want to hire in-house staff, you can join a lot of the open source communities and send questions and answers through them. Ask them, what sort of project manager should I be employing? I have the specific needs, or I have specific goals in mind. Where can I find that person? The open source communities are very robust, and if you're looking to install the DAM system in your local institution and then manage it here, that's the place for you to go to kind of get started. But there's also some really wonderful websites aside from DAM Guru, who I, of course, adore. And they have all sorts of references for people who are looking for positions. They have the technical and content expertise, or they have people who are seeking that information, or seeking jobs, So you can also post jobs on the DAM Guru program website and let everybody know, I'm looking for someone, and take in contacts from that place. So next question, is it common for museums to make the digital asset management system part of the exhibit, or is it more just a back office thing? So you're talking about digital exhibits. The digital asset management system so there's two things going on here. One is the strategy of how you want to manage your digital assets. You're building through the system your digital infrastructure. If you had the opportunity to rebuild your physical museum space, you would maybe change things around, maybe have more storage facilities or more exhibit space or something like that. When you're looking at building a digital asset management system, you are building your digital infrastructure, your digital house. So the system is part of the exhibit in that it's the place where you exhibit. So again, that has to come back to the goals of your specific institution. If you're simply looking for a place to archive your materials, then that would not be a place that's integrated with online exhibits. The DAM system is what manages the assets. So your digital exhibit can be interfaces that happen when people are walking through the physical space, and they can be exhibits that you share online, perhaps through your website, perhaps through one of the other services that are available, many of them for free, where you can share your assets. And you have the opportunity to decide, do I want to share high-resolution assets? Do I want to share low-resolution assets? Do I want to allow people to have the opportunity to take those assets and reconfigure them and reshare them and do new and interesting things with them? So the system is part of the strategy, but it is the house that you house your digital assets in, and it also protects them, right? That's also the place where you do your preservation interventions and you do your other collection management strategies. You apply the same strategies that you would to your tangible objects. So are subject matter experts typically the ones to enter metadata into the DAM, or do you have someone dedicated to that? So that's a really good question. For me, it probably depends on the amount of time that your subject matter experts have to devote to it, how large your institution is, and how much time or finances you have to devote to hiring someone to do it. Like I said, someone within the institution needs to have that technical expertise or basic technical competency to manage a database, manage databases, and enter that data. So it's up to you if you want them to establish the metadata, controlled vocabulary, and taxonomies, your subject matter experts, and then have the DAM administrator be the person who administers them within the DAM system. So they would apply them, they would manage the way that they are applied within the system. If you don't have the funding or the time to invest in a person who lives inside your museum, perhaps the vendor would manage that for you. But again, a vendor, like any other IT professional, has their expertise in the technical system, but not your content. So your subject matter experts have to be involved in that process. And that would also be something that you would want to manage when you do your RFP, understanding that the vendor would have to help you with the technical side of metadata management. But the decisions about what the metadata should be and what elements are required for every single item that goes into the digital asset system really does belong with your subject matter experts, because they know the collections and they know the materials in a way that no one else can. Next question. Any examples of how policies need to change for digital collections? Yes, absolutely. Digital collections require a lot more intervention, honestly, than tangible collections. I know that if I take a piece of pottery and I put it in the storage room and it's stored in an environmentally controlled location, that it's going to be just fine, as long as no one knocks into it or knocks it over. Digital assets can't do that. You can't park them and leave them alone for long periods of time and expect them to still be there when you go back. Part of understanding the technical management of a DAM system, which I'm sorry to say I didn't have time to go into those deep details, but part of managing the digital assets is also what we call fixity checking, where you actually go in and you check the system to ensure that there hasn't been any digital decay. You open documents, you check hard drives or servers, you check the assets as they live in the system on a regular basis. So establishing policies for who does that and when it happens is really important, because the digital things, as I said, they have a very short shelf life. And simple things like hardware failure, if you don't have things stored in multiple geographically dispersed locations, you can lose your entire collection. Now, of course, most systems are established to prevent that, especially the trusted digital repositories. Those are specifically designed for long-term storage and access and preservation of digital data. So again, determining what are the goals for your institution is really important to establishing those policies. And as you dive a little deeper into each of the topics that I've touched on today, you'll begin to understand more of how that's really going to affect your policies. But your policies can be applied to digital assets in the same way that they're applied to tangible objects, but expanded, of course, for digital collections. Next question. How can you manage accurate search results when the DAM is open to crowdsourcing metadata input? Okay, so if you understand things about database administration, you understand that within a database there are different tables. So your controlled vocabulary and your taxonomies are established in those tables within the database. The folksonomy, if it's an interface, let's just say, for example, it comes through your website, that's managed in a different table within the database. So while the search functionality looks seamless to the user on the outside, if they put in a key term that you have as part of your controlled vocabulary, it's going to pull up everything that you have tagged with that controlled vocabulary term. But if someone from the website has put in a folksonomic term, it will also produce those results. And that's part of the website interface or other interface that you want to use. There are free tools available online, systems that lots of people use, and they're very robust, and it's an opportunity for you to make those collections available online with at a lower cost than running an entire website service. And that's the same thing. You have your specific controlled vocabulary that's attached in the metadata to the images when you load them up, and then the folksonomy is collected in a different location in the database, and they're all visible, of course, on the web page through the interface. So that's how it's managed in literally in separate locations. Question: are any particular dams really better suited towards museums, or are claims to that effect just marketing? That's a really good question. I think it's more important for you to decide what you need and want and what your long-term planning is, so that when you take on a dam system, you know, I'm going to tackle A, B, and C in phase 1. And in the future, phase 2 of my dam system, then you go shop for the system, the dam that will meet your needs. Like I said earlier, the taming technolust. Don't let the shiny digital marketing affect your decision making. If you live in a place where you know what you want to do, you'll be able to more effectively determine if the claims are accurate or if they will not suit the needs of your institution. Question: are there metadata standards that are common for museums? Yes, there are. But usually it's more tied to the digital asset that you want. So for instance, if you have a moving image, MODS, M-O-D-S, is a common metadata schema or standard that is used. If you have an audio image, there's other metadata, and it's associated more with the file format that you're working with than it is specifically for museums. The interface for museums has to do with considering the fields that you have in your collection management system. So just as an example, let's say your collection management system is really not working for you right now, even for your tangible objects, and you want to move to a digital asset management system. When you make that move, you want to be able to take those fields that are absolutely necessary and the fields that you want that you don't currently have in the collection management system, and ensure that those are available for you in the dam. And that's part of looking at the way it's structured, whether you write the interface yourself or you have a vendor supply it for you. And then the metadata standards are tied to the type of files and objects that you're putting into your system. There are some large standards that are very common. Dublin Core is a very common standard that really meets many schemas, and it works for museums and archives and libraries and all sorts of cultural institutions. But there's others that you could look into. Again, I wish I could give a whole conversation just about metadata, and actually I think there is one already, Metadata Madness, which was really very good for your reference. Question: can you still keep and display photos of loaned collections after the collection has moved on? That's a good question. And that has to do with your legal agreement with the people who are loaning the exhibit to you. As with any digital object, if the collection itself is digital, you'll have to establish that, because if you don't own the copyright, as in the United States in particular, if you don't own the copyright to it, you must agree to either pay or use them for a certain period of time after the loaned exhibit has moved on. And that's usually established in those loan agreements. Or the other question comes around when people take pictures of a loaned exhibit that's in your institution. How do you control the intellectual property rights of the institution that has shared that collection with you? Again, establishing that in your loan agreement in advance really helps to define that for everyone. Most of the time, user-generated images are the copyright of the user. So if you allow photography in your exhibits and a person from the public comes in and takes some pictures in the United States, they own the copyright for that digital object. They own the copyright of that image. That's not necessarily true in other places, in other countries. So knowing in advance what you want to do. So if you take a picture of an exhibit and it was on loan, in the United States, you own the copyright for that image. But it's always good to have that agreement in advance with the people when you make your loan agreement, so that it's very clear and there's no problems afterwards. Question: any tips for picking a dam that won't become obsolete? No, they will all become obsolete. The point to deciding a dam strategy is that your institution will become more agile and flexible when it comes to technology. Technology will always become obsolete. The software, the hardware, where we store it, how we store it, what we call it, those things are going to continue to change. So while it's important to select the best system that you can for your current needs and as much as you can plan for your future development, at some point we need to be flexible enough to move from an older system to a new system. So I know this question comes up a lot when it comes to the traditional legacy collection management systems. So you may want to wait around and see if your vendor or the software producer is going to come out with a new version that will meet your needs, and then adopt a digital asset management system that accommodates your digital system and integrate them together through a user interface. It's called an API or some other method of accessing both systems so that your users, whether they're team members in the institution or external researchers and the public, can query both locations and get the information that they're seeking. So letting loose of the idea that I'm going to buy the best system that I can and it's going to last for 20 years is something I think at least we need to move beyond that. We need to move beyond the idea, because technology is a tool and we're going to use it for as long as it's useful, and then we're going to move on to the next piece. So setting up a system that is interoperable, meaning that you can expand it, share it, and it can adjust, you're going to have a much better option, a much better chance of finding something that you can use and adapt over a long period of time before you have to move on to the next system or the next technology that will help us to manage these assets over time. Question: would you recommend that you always embed the metadata in the file itself? So digital preservation is one of my favorite topics. And I think it's important if you, let's just for example say you're going to take a photograph, an image, a digital image. When you set up your camera at the beginning to take the best resolution and they have the great lighting all set up, it's also important to set the metadata in the camera. Establish who's taking the picture, what the event is, who's featured, what time of day it is. Most of the cameras will take things that are automatic, like GPS locations, date and time, the ISO standard, the f-stop that you're taking the image at. But the contextual information is always better when it's embedded in the digital object itself rather than in the catalog descriptive space, because that's kind of like a wrapper that goes around, like a folder almost. If you take the digital object out of the folder, just like on your computer, you have separated it from the metadata. So my thought is put as much of it, attach as much of it with the digital object as possible, and then use the appropriate folder metadata or location metadata that you would use, just like cataloging, to talk broadly about all sorts of objects that end up in an exhibit or a collection. So that was all the questions I have, and I hope that I've had an opportunity to answer your questions, and you can make a plan moving forward, whether you're going to rescue your existing digital data that has run amok, or if you're going to start a new dam system. And please feel free to tweet with me or email me. I love to talk to folks, and I get over-engaged, so thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please send me an email or send me a tweet, and I'll be happy to chat with you.